I know a lot of our clients and manufacturing clients in general might have smaller teams, more limited bandwidth. Any advice or workarounds to make any of this easier? Because again, we're talking about it. I'm sure hopefully someone is listening to this on the other side of the phone, computer, laptop, wherever they're hearing us come through and thinking like, wow, this sounds awesome. But what do I do? Like our team is small and stressed, and how do I get this going?
We're already worrying about making sure we hit revenue goals, and like our job is already hard enough. Why are you putting one more thing on me, P80 folks?
Yes.
And I would say it just takes a little bit of extra effort to be just a little bit more strategic, but not a lot of extra effort. It's just making sure that you are making those small tweaks that we talked about, but then also just being like focused. If you've got a small team, start with a small list. Like if you've got one or two reps that are doing it, like I said earlier, maybe don't give them 50 accounts. Maybe give them 5 each, and start from there. But then also like use automation where you can. Like you don't have to do all of this manually. You don't have to do all of the heavy lifting. Like let HubSpot do that for you. Because in theory, you're paying good money for HubSpot. So let it do the work for you that it's designed to do.
Right.
It's like having a Ferrari and only driving 35 miles an hour with it. It's like, come on, open that bad boy up.
Right. Let's see what it can do.
So it's like if you got the automation functionality, like use it. So use those workflows to automate tasks. Use those sequences to send emails for you. But then also use like the scheduling tools so that you're not having to remember like, okay, I'm going to follow up with this person in 3 weeks. Like automatically assign those tasks so you're not having to think about it and you can just on to the next thing. So it's using that kind of thing. But then most importantly, I would say, like, remember that this is a long game. Like for a lot of ABM campaigns, I mean, if you see something like immediately, come talk to me. Like I want to know what you're doing. But it's going to take a little while to create some traction, to raise some awareness, to get to where people are responding to these outreach campaigns. Because, from what I've seen from like reading other sales folks online and just like my own experience, it probably is going to take like 6 to 8 outreaches before someone even responds.
Right.
And if you space that out, that could be weeks, if not month or 2.
Yeah.
So be patient. It's going to be okay. But also, just don't sweat trying to start big. Just like start where you can, use those resources, and just be super focused.
Perfect. As far as KPIs, I know we've talked a little bit about those big wins, seeing things come in. What KPIs do you think manufacturers should track to know if their ABM strategy is working?
Yeah. So one of the key KPIs is probably going to be engagement with the content, whether that's seeing who's opening emails, seeing who's engaging with LinkedIn ads. If you're doing those Loom videos like I talked about, you can see if people are opening them and watching them.
That's cool too, because you can see how far they make it through.
Right.
I like that feature a lot.
So like stuff like that. So like engagement is huge. And then like in HubSpot, you can see within a dashboard like when was the last time engagement happened and things like that. So that's super helpful. But then also just like pipeline, just like you can track directly like here is this contact, did they become a deal, and then that deal become closed one, and just tracking pipeline, because the end goal of this is
ROI.
It's ROI. It's money. And like the wise philosophers once said, cash rules everything around me. So like,
100%.
Yeah. So like if you're making money and you can track it and associate it with your ABM, then boom, there's your KPI. Good. But then also like if you're seeing you're not making any revenue off of these contacts that you're focusing on, that's where you can kind of reevaluate and say, where are we losing here? Where are we losing traction? Is it a content thing, or is it that we are focusing on the wrong types of people? Like, yeah, we got them a quote, but then it ends up being that we're not a good fit for them, whether that's price, lead time, X amount of factors there.
Yeah.
But then like, how do I say this? It's not necessarily also about just like getting as many fish in the boat as you can.
Right.
It's like keeping them there. And I think that analogy kind of falls apart because like, yeah, the fish aren't going to jump out once you catch them. But like, it's about like retention and making sure like you're creating customers that are going to become like long-term customers.
Good fit ones, ones that your team wants to work with and wants to have a million more, just like in a perfect world.
Exactly. So like, just because you're focusing on that cool, big, shiny company and they buy one thing from you, are they going to be long-term customers? And if they're not, then like, again, let's revisit. Why did they not?
Right.
And then you can kind of track that kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. And I think I liked how you talked about engagement metrics too playing a role because, as we said, patience is a virtue with this one. Wow, we want that ROI, we want that cash.
Yeah.
It does take time, so at least those smaller KPIs can help make sure you're on the right path to get there.
Right. Yeah. And even just like tracking simple things as like how long a deal stays in a stage, like if, we're seeing that the deals are kind of hanging out in a very early stage for a long time. Why? And then having those regular check-in meetings is super helpful for that because your sales folks can give context and all of those kinds of things. Hopefully they're logging things in HubSpot so you can see it and not need a ton of meetings.
Why? Everyone loves meetings.
Everyone loves them. I don't know why we're anti-meeting.
For what reason? Like, what's better than talking to someone when you could be doing a million other things?
I know.
Awesome. All right. What are some common pitfalls when it comes to ABM reporting in HubSpot? How might they be avoided if there are?
One of them is like you're collecting data, but you're not doing anything about it. So if you are seeing, we have a lot of deals that are kind of stalling in this stage, and then we never hear from them, or we're seeing that we're getting a lot of engagement on this particular thing, but then nothing's happening, but then not doing anything about it, and then just keep trying it and just like hoping it sticks for somebody. It's like, well, no, it's probably not working for a reason. Right. So like use that data to fix it, or at least improve it.
Don't just keep ramming your head against the wall and be like, "Damn, why do I have a headache?
Why is this happening at me? I don't get it." No, like it's that's there to help you. So, and then like also, making sure that the data actually is clean. So it's like making sure you have a defined sales process or outreach process for your sales team to use. Because what a lot of people end up talking to us about is like, I don't know why our reps aren't using HubSpot the right way. Like they're just not putting the information in correctly, or they're not putting it in the right spot, or, everything just getting written down on a sticky note and put on my desk. It's like, all right. So like from there, it's a process thing.
Right.
And if your process isn't in place and adopted by your team, then the data is not being put in correctly. And if your data is not being put in correctly, you don't have anything to pivot off of.
Right.
So it all kind of comes down to that. So data hygiene is huge. Make sure your phone calls are tracked. Make sure your meetings are tracked. Make sure your emails are associated properly. So if you're using Outlook, make sure that connection is right. So you're seeing what's being sent, what's being opened, things like that. Really, ABM ends up being a lot about the numbers. Yeah. It's not just about content. It's about like what's working. And if you don't have a way to track properly what's working, it's probably not going to end up working in the long run.
Right.
At least
and you'll never know why. We're also like
are the worst. Just being like, it's not working, but why?
And I don't know why. So that helps to remove some of it. And I'm sure there's some people listening that are like, oh yeah, like trying to get my team in HubSpot using it correctly. How do I even do that? Like that's a whole nother, that could be multiple other podcasts, but a place that I would start if you're listening to that and you're like, how would I even get my team to do that? We did have a podcast 2 podcasts ago, maybe 1 podcast ago. We had a recent one with Vicky talking through Supered and how that can help with that. So plugging another episode. Yeah. You're stuck with me for another hour. Enjoy.
But for real, Supered is awesome.
just as you were saying it, I was like,
And that as someone like that works here, like as a rep that's used it like previously before coming here, it was like, wow, this thing is
right.
yeah.
Like if only there was a way to make sure that the data was going to be clean.
Right.
Oh wait, there now is. Like my mind is still blown by it. I'm still learning about all the capabilities of it. I feel like Vicky is our in-house expert. She's incredible. She knows so much about it. And so talking to her, I was like, it can do that too. Like I'm learning for the first time with everyone else.
Yeah.
So,
Can I use that for me?
right.
Just for our click that.
I'm like, can I get that? Like, I know it can lay over like pretty much anything. Could I just get that in my brain though? Like,
Right.
amazing if I was just walking through life in a process doc for a conversation popped up.
Oh, this is how I change a tire. Sweet.
Yeah, like, but basically it does that on the HubSpot
Yeah.
side of things.
Right,
So
exactly.
it's cool.
Yeah. So it helps foster adoption a little bit more quickly, so that you're not I'm not now I'm doing a plug for Super.
That's all right.
But so your reps aren't having to take time to either ask questions or just do it wrong,
Right.
because that ends up being what it
Right.
ends up being. They end up asking somebody else, and now two people are distracted because generally that conversation is not going to stay on topic for super long.
And there's no truth there that they're both doing it right. Like they could be asking their own.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So yeah.
Just spreads like wildfire.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So let's think someone's implemented ABM, but they're feeling kind of stalled. What would be the first thing you would look at if you were them?
First, I make sure they're targeting the right people.
Mhm.
To use the fish analogy again, make sure you're fishing the right pond.
Right.
You know, like,
Is that something you commonly see, like being a
yeah.
misstep or a pitfall that people fall into?
Yeah, because they get kind of bright-eyed about the prospect of working with this particular company or this type of company.
Yeah.
Even if it's not necessarily like a big name, like maybe it is, you know, that particular company is a higher revenue company, and your product offering just doesn't serve them quite as well. And that's okay. Like, you know, there are other companies that will fit your ICP a little bit better.
Great.
So it's making sure you are staying in line with that, because you did all this work to create these buyer personas. Make sure everything's in line with those. And then, you know, again, engagement, making sure that's working, you know, because it could be that at first it was working and it was doing great, and then you just kind of like put it on cruise control and let it kind of run. And now it's like, well, we haven't actually gotten a deal out of that in like 8 months. Like, what's going on? And you can see, oh, no one's been opening these emails. That might be why. So it's like, it's constant attention to it.
Yeah.
Which is an extra step, I understand. But if you want it to work, it's a necessary step.
Right.
And then also, like, don't be afraid to ask for help. Like, whether that's from someone in your company, you know, if it's the sales folks and they have been given this task to do this ABM outreach, and they're just like, I don't know if this is working, like, talk to somebody.
Right.
Like, you know, hopefully you are in an organization that fosters that kind of conversation.
Right.
We sure hope you are. Or, and this is me plugging us, come to us. You know, like, this is what we are here for, to kind of help optimize your ABM efforts when they have stalled, to make sure, you know, we can look at all of those types of things, so you're not having to spend time,
Right.
like, do that, you know,
Right.
like,
Who has the time?
Right.
We do. That's why we're dear. But also, I think sometimes just having that fresh set of eyes somewhere and getting that fresh perspective from someone who's not been in it from the beginning can be so helpful to kind of just expose areas of weakness or blind spots. Not like, because if you're in it every day, you're checking it every day, you've been in it from the beginning, of course you're going to set it up the best way that you think you can.
yeah.
But having someone with a fresh set of eyes to look at it and be like, oh, why is this set up the way it is? And maybe there's not an answer for it.
Right.
Can be so helpful.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. All right. Well, let's talk through a success story. Where have you seen this truly excel?
Yeah. So I've seen kind of two sides of this.
Yeah, you can talk about a terrible. A horror story will be acceptable as well.
Yeah. And, you know, it's the horror story side of this is kind of like what I was talking about. You do all this effort to do this, and then, you know, we see clients that, you know, they do all this kind of stuff, and then they just kind of like press play and like let it go. And then it's like, well, why isn't this working? You know, it's like, well, this is why. Or just like not having rep buy-in. I've also seen that where it's like you've got a team of, 6 reps, but only 2 of them are like really bought in. And like they're doing a lot of heavy lifting and it's working, but you're not seeing the full fruition of, all of the effort that you put in. So it's like creating that buy-in across the team and stuff like that. But where we've seen this work is, a client of ours who did the heavy lifting of, creating those ICPs. And, if they're long meetings, that we've sat in, just like creating those personas, creating that ICP, figuring out who our targets are. They particularly used Zoom info for that, and then just importing that, and then letting those contacts that match those buyer personas come into HubSpot. They get kicked into a personalized sequence, and it's still very early on, but they're already seeing like engagement and deals come in and stuff like that, and it's super exciting. And yeah, it's really awesome to see, and it's just like, all right, let's just keep it going. Let's just like keep rolling. We're only like 3 weeks into this and you've already got a deal. Awesome. Keep it rolling. So it's like stuff like that. It is really exciting when it works, but it's also incredibly frustrating when you have that other side of it.
Right.
Where it's like, come on guys, you've done the work. You can do it. Just like.
Right. Help us help you.
Exactly.
Help them. And everyone will be happy.
Yeah, we're all happy. Yeah. It's an ecosystem.
Awesome. Are there any common misconceptions about ABM that you'd like to clear up? You have a platform today, so you might as well take advantage of it.
And I've got thoughts.
Good.
Yeah. Probably the biggest misconception is that ABM is just cold calling. And most reps, especially if they're used to inbound, they hear something like this, they're just like, I don't want to do that. Like, no. And a lot of that is, a misconception, and some of it is like, it's just not being led well.
Right.
So again, that's where we kind of help, is like clearing up some of those misconceptions about what it is. But like for those people, I would say like, remember, like ABM is an extension of your inbound. So it's the same tactics. Right. You're just focusing it a little bit more.
Right.
But then also I'd say like for the small teams out there and the small companies, like it could just be like, we don't have the resources. We don't have the time. Like this only works for like companies that have big sales teams, big marketing teams, a huge budget. Like we just don't have that. We've got one person that is an office administrator and a marketing person. And then they also like make sure the bathroom's cleaned, and they make, they've got like 15.
They're watering the plant.
Right. They're making sure that like the doors are locked every day, and like they've got enough going on. Like, I don't have time for this. And it's like, you can do this with a small team. It's just, again, takes that focus. But once you've got it in place, it's fairly easy. So it's not just exclusive to big companies.
Right. And there's tools to help the small companies, as we covered extensively.
Exactly. So use the tools, and then you can do that when only 30 minutes of your day is focused on marketing stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. All right. The last thing that I wanted to try out, it's a new addition to the podcast. You're the first one I'm going to try this out with. I want to throw out a list of ABM related tactics, tools, concepts. For each one, just tell me love it, hate it, or indifferent. It'll be kind of like a speed round. You can explain. If there's something that you're like fired up about, you can explain. But otherwise, I'm just going to throw things at you and you're going to tell me how you feel about it. All right. We'll start with smart content on landing pages.
Love it.
Personalized LinkedIn ads via HubSpot.
Definitely love it.
Sequences for ABM merge. I think I know the answer.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Lead scoring versus company scoring.
Oof. I'm kind of in the middle on this one.
Okay.
Because like with ABM, you're looking at the whole company. But also like scoring the contact individually is also helpful. So it's kind of like, it depends on how you're doing it, how you're approaching it. So both, yeah. Love it if you're doing it right.
Yeah. Perfect. There you go. Sales and marketing sharing the same dashboard.
100% love it.
Weekly ABM check-in meetings.
Love it. Yeah.
Awesome. Cold calling as a part of an ABM strategy.
Love it if it's done right. Again, yeah.
Perfect. ABM campaign ROI dashboards.
Oh yeah, love it.
re-engaging cold accounts every quarter?
That one I'm indifferent on because it might not need to be as rigid as a quarter.
Right.
It kind of depends on some context, but I think re-engagement is super important because sometimes the answer is not necessarily no, it's just not right now.
Right. And I think using the tools that we mentioned in HubSpot where you can see their engagement, you can see what they've been looking at, can help inform that more so than just a quarterly time box type thing.
Yeah. And also like knowing things, just like maybe it's just like a weird part of their fiscal year.
Right.
You know, and they can't purchase capital equipment or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Last one. Naming your ABM campaigns after rock bands or movie characters.
Yeah, love it. Just make sure that like that is like internal only.
Right.
You don't want to accidentally like in an email with the client on it or the lead on it, just being like, all right, I'm reaching out to the Nickelback account today. And it's like, all right. Like,
Because that can be interpreted many different ways. That's very divisive.
Exactly. So like, yeah, make sure that stays internal, but yeah, super fun. Love it. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, thank you again so much for your time today. This was so much fun. I loved having this conversation. I hope everyone listening did as well. And for anyone listening, if you have any additional questions, want to reach out to us, feel free to either email info@protocol80.com or go to protocol80.com and check out all the good stuff we have there. So thanks for listening.
Thanks.